us here in the U.S. and other parts of the world, but combat sports, racing, we have a lot to talk about because I haven't done these in quite some time, so I guess it's a good time to get started. Well, first of all, make sure, of course, you do like the video, if you do like the video, and also if you just want to help out the channel, want to help out supporting. Obviously, doing a 1 hour long video, it takes a long time to edit and render and do all this YouTube fun stuff, so make sure, of course, you do like the video. It should be somewhere down there, like the like button. Make sure you guys do that. And of course, comment down below any updated topics that you guys want me to discuss in the next one. Other sports, other events, maybe some other things you guys would like to see, maybe more involvement of triggers, just random sporting things that are going on. I would love to know as well. But yeah. Anyways, we do have a lot of sports to get up to and talk about. I'm trying to think what we should talk about first. Well, of course, you guys know I am a big fan of the NBA, so I guess the NBA is the first thing we should be talking about. And when it comes to the NBA, NBA playoffs are going on right now. Currently in the NBA playoffs. Let's see what I want to do here. Maybe I'll pull up the NBA .com, and it should show me the current NBA playoff picture, like the bracket. That's what I really want to see, is the full NBA bracket. Let's see if I can find it somewhere. Playoffs bracket. Awesome. So, currently right now, there are some series that are done and over with, and some series that are continuing to go on. I'm just going to go on where it shows, and we're going to talk about them. First up is the number 1 seeded Boston Celtics taking on the number 8 seeded Miami Heat, where Boston, again, currently as this video is being recorded, it leads the season series 3-1. Boston just recently beat Miami. Was it at Miami? No, it'd be in Boston. It would be in Boston because, yeah, that's game number 4. No, that'd be game 5, right? Oh, no, that is game 4. That is in Miami. That's right. So game 5 will be in Boston. So, not looking good there in Miami, but I do know that the Boston Celtics had a little bit of a scare with Kristaps Porzingis. Hopefully that injury that he did have isn't anything too serious. I have not seen anything about it yet, but I do know it was a kind of a non-contact injury. And if you don't know, sporting injuries and stuff like that, if it's a non-contact injury, those are always kind of the worst injuries to get through, is the ones where they're kind of just out of nowhere, which is kind of scary. I do think, of course, that the Boston Celtics do handle the season series and do probably win game 5 back in Boston. Gonna be a good way to sort of hopefully end this maybe a little Miami Heat Boston Celtic rivalry that's been brewing for the past couple years. Next up down the listing, we have the number 4 Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Orlando Magic. And this series is tied 2-2. Now, I think as you guys are watching this video, this game is actually on today, game number 5, and I actually don't know what's going to happen. The defense of the Orlando Magic, which we did touch upon in the sort of breakdown before the playoffs even started, I did mention that the Orlando Magic are known to be a very good defense team, especially for how young they are. And in games 1 and 2, it didn't show kind of at all. Donovan Mitchell was having a field day, and he was really showing them that, hey, I am the best player in this playoff series, and I'm going to show you guys that. Games 3 and 4, though, back in Orlando, I don't think the Cleveland Cavaliers scored over 100 points. I don't even know if they scored over 90 points in either games 3 or 4, which was pretty rough to watch. Now, do I think that's going to carry over for the next couple of games? I do not. I still think Orlando loses. Now, I do think, you guys know, and I've heard this, let me say this, that Orlando is one of my favorite teams in the entire NBA. They're probably my favorite Eastern Conference NBA team. I love watching them play, but, defense does usually have a big way of showing up in the playoffs, being a big significance. But for a young team like Orlando, are they going to be able to keep this up for the next couple games? Maybe one game, maybe an interesting Game 7 series, but I don't know. I think Cleveland just has too much oomph on their squad, a little bit too much experience for that to happen. Pacers. They're awesome. Tyrese Halliburton, that squad. Pretty good young cast of players. But my God, are the Milwaukee Bucks struggling? Giannis, out. Dame, out. Chris Middleton, playing on a sprained ankle. Bobby Portis, thrown out of Game 4. Who's playing on that team? I have no idea. The Milwaukee Bucks are just playing their worst brand of basketball at the worst possible time. The basketball gods are frowning upon the Milwaukee Bucks, man. It is really tough now. If the Milwaukee Bucks were fully healthy, I probably think Milwaukee finishes this series in 5 games, 6 games. I think the Pacers are good enough to push them to 6, but I think Milwaukee does win this series. But now, bye-bye Milwaukee, I guess. Indiana is moving on to the next round, which is crazy to say because they are just so young. It's wild, but that's just the thing that happens in NBA basketball. Anything's possible, and sometimes things just don't really go your way. So Milwaukee injury bug has them in the worst possible timing, and that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles. Now I do think Milwaukee, they weren't going to win the NBA championship this year. Their team just wasn't good enough. But I have been saying this. I do think Milwaukee, with a good offseason, with the right offseason, can really push them over the hump to be maybe even the best team in NBA basketball if they do just get their pieces together. I do think they need to deepen out the bench. I do think they need the right pieces there. Do I think Doc Rivers is the right head coach for this team? Absolutely not, but maybe just having Doc Rivers just in another whole season with this team can really help out. Yes, I do. So next season will be the Milwaukee Bucks' best shot at winning an NBA championship, and they might even be my favorite to win it all. But they lose against the Pacers, for sure. Then we have the Knicks against the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's go Knicks, baby. I did pick the Knicks to lose this series because I did not think they would have enough kick of their team. And lo and behold, they do. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, they're actually backing up this team immensely with, obviously, of course, Jalen Brunson playing out of his mind. I thought having Julius Randle on his team was really going to hurt. Having a player who can average, 25 points, can kind of take a game over when he needs to. Looks like it doesn't matter, and just the all-around team play and the crazy hustle that squad has against this Philadelphia team who's putting their heart and soul and the entire weight of a franchise on a 25% healthy Joel Embiid, who's literally having a stress-related disease or condition right now. Is just insane. I feel so sorry for Joel Embiid. It's I don't want to joke around about this, but it almost seems like it's inhumane about what Philly's doing to Joel Embiid, man. They are just throwing everything at him, and I know they have Tyrese Maxey, who's a very good player, but he's still just not that ready in his NBA career to sort of kind of carry that load alongside Joel Embiid. And got Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre Jr. are your next best players. They really need to tool that team a little bit better next season if they really need to do something like that, but hopefully they can, because they really need that. And of course Joel Embiid just needs to be healthy. But I think just like with Milwaukee, I think next year will be a better season for them just because they know what they're going into the season with this season obviously having the whole James Harden thing going on all off season. Maybe they can cook something up, but let's go Knicks. Then we have some season series that are already over, like of course on the western side of the bracket, the Oklahoma City Thunder beating in 4 games the New Orleans Pelicans. Golf clap for this very young OKC team. Looking very good. Now that first game of the Pelicans against the Thunder, I 100% think the Pelicans should have won that game, but of course CJ McCollum decided to take the last shot and not arguably the best scorer on that team already in Brandon Ingram. I think this probably should have been like a 5-6 game series, but alas, OKC hangs out and they look really good. SGA looks like a player you can definitely win a playoff series with, and Chet Holmgren is a defensive phenom already, and that whole squad is just so good put together, so exciting. I knew this series was going to be awesome, and I think so far this has been the best series of the NBA playoffs. I think it's been very exciting. There's big time players, big time names, big time plays, a lot of back and forth, comeback wins and stuff like that. It's been very fun to watch. So I'm saying this already. This has been my favorite series to watch, and yeah, watching Luka Doncic cook against the LA Clippers is always fun. But I don't know what's up with this LA Clipper team. They just don't look good right now. Kawhi Leonard has been playing very mid-tier basketball. I mean, even looking at some of the box scores, I mean, the Clippers have only scored over 100 points twice in these 4 games. And in those games, like, bro, they scored 90 points in game, I think, number 3. Taking a look at the box scores, Kawhi Leonard had 9 points. Paul George had 7 points. Like, I never knew that the Dallas Mavericks were going to be locking down these superstars like they are. Now, are the superstars locking down themselves? Maybe, but Dallas is definitely playing a brand of basketball I did not know they could really reach, at least in my imagination. Now, obviously, could they? Yes, because NBA players are that good at basketball, and if they really buy into a system, they can. And I guess they are. I did pick Dallas to win this series. It is still 2-2, which is very close. In my opinion, this is a coin flip of a NBA playoff series. I think I can see either team winning out for different reasons. I did say at the beginning of the playoff series, so I did see Dallas winning, and it right now being 2 games apiece, the next game is going to be in LA. Bold statement from Jake Baller ASMR. Whoever wins Game 5 wins the series. So the next game between the Clippers and the Mavericks is going to be the biggest one. I think whoever wins Game 5 takes the series. Going on to the next series, we have the 3 matchup of the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Phoenix Suns. Never mind. That series is done and over with as well. The Phoenix Suns actually losing in a sweep. Wow. Now, if you didn't know, this is the Phoenix Sun team of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. One of the craziest three-headed monsters of a roster I've ever seen. Of course, we had KD, James Harden, and Kyrie. We've had, of course, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, but even this three-headed monster sounds pretty crazy. And they couldn't win one playoff game. They couldn't win a single NBA playoff game. 3 of the best scorers I've ever seen. Definitely the top 3 scorers, and maybe you could argue this sort of generation of like 2010s basketball. And they couldn't win one game. That's pretty crazy. A lot of things kind of go into that. With, of course, just the game plan of this team. It looks like it wasn't very fine-tuned enough for an NBA playoff series. I've seen multiple clips of Phoenix Suns players just not buying into the coaching, kind of not giving a crap what their coach has to say. And Frank Vogel, I've seen a lot of reasons for that. I've heard things about what Kevin Durant is. So I don't think he's going to be the next face of the NBA. I don't think he's going to be the guy, on the cereal boxes, on the NBA commercials, but is he going to be like a top 3 player in the NBA? Yes, and he's definitely already arguably top 10. You could even argue top 8 right now. He is just killing it on both sides of the ball. Now, will that continue on against a more maybe developed, well-rounded team? We're going to have to see, because the next playoff series is the Denver Nuggets against the LA Clippers, the 2-7 matchup. The Nuggets are winning that, so they will be taking on the Denver Nuggets. But the LA Lakers end up getting swept. Or actually, no, they did win one game. It's a 5-game series, so they didn't get swept, which is good. But no, still, that is so sad that happened. But wow, this LA team is interesting. The role players on this team just absolutely couldn't do anything. This is like one of the most lackadaisical role players I've ever seen LeBron James play with. It just seemed like they didn't want any part of being in a competitive NBA playoff series. All these games, they made it seem like it was just another NBA game. They froze in the spotlight. It seemed like none of them knew what NBA playoff basketball looked like. It literally looked like it was just LeBron James and Anthony Davis out there for a bit. And then, Anthony Davis gets hurt in the final game. Man. I don't know if you guys remember Anthony Davis playing in New Orleans. That guy was an absolute monster. A beast. Just a terrifying player to play against. Even early LA Laker Anthony Davis was insane. I don't think any NBA player is scared of Anthony Davis. I think, Anthony Davis is, man, I don't know. And then you take a look at the game winner Jamal Murray had. Shoots it over Anthony Davis. Jamal Murray has another, you can call it a game winner in the final game, game number 5. Shoots it over Austin Reeves, and also Anthony Davis was involved in that play. And Jamal Murray doesn't care who it is, he just puts it in and ends it. That is crazy. I do think the LA Lakers were very competitive in this series, which again, sort of pat on the back, a little clappy clap for LeBron and his team, but I don't know, man. That was pretty rough. I have no idea what they're going to be doing on their future. I'm assuming LeBron's going to be back. I'm assuming AD's going to be there, but that team could be a whole different squad of guys next season, including the coaching staff, which, by the way, Darvin Ham is just the biggest excuse for a head coach I've ever seen. I don't think that guy did one thing. I think he's a good motivational speaker. If he needs a new job, I think he should look into that, because that's all that guy did was yap and say very cliche motivational quotes to this team. I don't think he drew one play, maybe this entire NBA season. Anyways, Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that is going to be maybe the best NBA playoff series we've seen in a very long time. I think potentially the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves to be one of the best playoff series we've seen in a long time. I cannot wait to see this. And with the development of a potential Kristaps Porzingis injury and just the Boston Celtics seeming like they are pretty nice and beatable, which I do think they still are very good. If Kristaps Porzingis injury, knock on wood, I'm not wishing this, if it is legit, I think whoever wins the matchup between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets, I think they win the NBA championship. I think whoever wins between Denver and Minnesota right now, in the mind of Jake Baller, I think whoever wins that series wins the NBA championship. Those two teams look amazing offensively, defensively. They have comeback wins over there in Denver. Minnesota, just the lockdown defense, the emerging, well, not even emerging, the stardom of just Anthony Edwards growing and growing and growing. If that team really kicks it off, I can see either one of them winning the NBA championship. I think both of them are just better than OKC as of right now, I still just think OKC just won't be able to, when the going gets tough for the OKC Thunder, I don't think they'll be able to have enough oomph and firepower to really get back into a good NBA playoff game. Where with Minnesota and Denver, I think no matter what the lead is, I think it's not safe with those guys, and I think those teams are just so well put together. Veteran leadership and playoff experience, I think that team is just, both teams are just ready. And same thing with Boston, of course, but if Kristaps Porzingis is injured, that could be kind of a yikes, but man, that's going to be a very, very, very fun, matchup to see. So, yeah, that's kind of just what's going on in the NBA playoffs now. Again, do I think my change of pace of the Boston Celtics is going to defer me from picking them to win the NBA championship? I think right now my current, I guess not my current, but my previous guess on and prediction was the Boston Celtics were going to win the NBA championship. I don't see that happening now. I think right now it's between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. I think those are my two top teams. I think Boston is right there. I need to see what happens with that team going further, but those two teams really impressed me, and I really had a lot of fun watching them in their own individual playoff series, and right now they are my favorites to win. And they go up against each other in the next round of the playoffs, which is just awesome to see. So, yeah. Anything else I need to say? It's really sad that some of these series are already ending. I loved having like 2 or 3 NBA games to watch a day. They've been really fun to watch. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be cutting down a lot more than there's only like one game like every 4 days when the NBA Finals goes on. But man, the start of the NBA playoffs is always so much fun because there's like 4 games on at like boom, 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 boom time, and it's always so much fun. It's almost like March Madness, but with professional basketball. It's sick, but yeah, but kind of fun. Anyways, I've been yapping about NBA basketball. It's already like 30 minutes into this video. I feel so bad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk about. I think I'm good. But yeah, that Minnesota-Denver series is going to be really good. I still think the Boston Celtics handles probably every team in the Eastern Conference. I think the New York Knicks are looking pretty good. I think they can make definitely the conference finals. Because if they face off against the Pacers in the second round, I do think the Knicks have a pretty good shot against them for sure. And then Boston or the Magic are just not going to know what to do with that Boston Celtic team. So yeah. Moving on to the next thing. Let's see. Maybe we can move on to the NFL draft. I think that could be kind of fun. I know a lot of people wanted me to talk about that, but also some people don't really care about the NFL draft, so I'll make this kind of quick, and then we'll talk about maybe like Champions League football or something or other. But very quickly, the NFL draft was a handful of days ago, and I don't know what I want to do. Maybe look at draft grades. I know I did a short NFL draft recap, kind of, and YouTube short, which I don't know if you guys even really liked, but I did do that, and there were some people who did draft night grades for teams. Now you can actually take a look at just the entire sort of team grade and what happened and what they graded them. Like, for example, on NFL.com, the Arizona Cardinals had a draft night grade of an A-, which is kind of interesting. That's a pretty good grade for the Arizona Cardinals. They obviously did have the number 4 overall pick, taking the probably best wide receiver in the NFL draft in Marvin Harrison Jr. That makes a lot of sense. Then he has a couple of other players like Darius Robinson, Max Melton, Trey Benson. You get the idea. They having a draft night grade of an A-. Then we have, of course, the Atlanta Falcons with a draft night grade of A C+, which I don't know if that's the lowest one. We'll take a look at which ones were the lowest ones, but wow, that's really rough. If you didn't know, the Atlanta Falcons drafted a quarterback with their number 8 overall pick, Michael Penix Jr. And yes, Kirk Cousins was recently signed to that team for $108 isn't mathing, but the general manager, I think, or maybe the head coach, I think it was the general manager, came out and already gave a press conference on his idea. And this man is willing to sit a top 10 NFL draft pick for the next 2 to 3 years, if that's what it takes for this to work out, which is a wild. If I am Michael Penix, I am pissed. I would have pulled Eli. I would have pulled an Eli Manning and just would have said, I refuse to play. I will not sign with this team. I will become an NFL free agent. I'd rather go back to college than do this because, man, going there, sitting for the next 2-3 years and not getting that sort of NFL run a quarterback needs to really become great, to be, what is it called, like baptism by fire, when they get thrown into fire pits to see if they have it in them. He's not going to get that. He is just going to be cooking for 2 to 3 years, and hopefully when, obviously, of course, Kirk Cousins kind of dwindles down and that contract is not really worth it anymore. If he gets thrown to an NFL game, is he going to be really ready for it? I have no idea. Where these other quarterbacks are picked number 1, number 2, of course, Caleb Williams gets picked number 1 to the Chicago Bears. They shipped off Justin Fields, who was a pretty good, solid quarterback for them, and making his way for them. You know what I'm saying? He's just gonna be walking into a starting quarterback role where Michael Penix Jr. is definitely not getting that same treatment. So we're gonna see if it works out. Now maybe they do a thing where Kirk Cousins doesn't play too much, and maybe they just save Kirk Cousins for when they maybe potentially make a playoff, and then maybe you just let Kirk Cousins cook in more sort of real NFL games, and then maybe you throw in Michael Penix Jr. in games that maybe you could dominate, like against a Carolina Panther team or something like that. Maybe just a team where they just know they'll have a better advantage than you throw Kirk Cousins in against teams where they're kind of more scrappy, like a Chiefs game, for example. Maybe that's their thought process. Or they just literally sit this kid for the next 2-3 years and just hope to God he's developing in their training camps and stuff like that, which is crazy to think about. I don't know what they're thinking. Anyways, let's see. Baltimore Ravens get a grade of an A-. Panthers get a grade of a B. Chicago Bears do get a grade of an A- for their draft night day grades, which, by the way, the draft is 3 days. So what they do, they average out the 3 days. So, again, for the Chicago Bears, have a grade of an A-, but their first day grade is an A, second day grade is an A-, and their third day grade is a B-. So it kind of averages out. And yeah, Caleb Williams looks good. He looks very good. Now, am I a huge believer in him? Not necessarily. I think it's really hard to be a good, great NFL quarterback. It is a lot like being a great or good NBA point guard. It can take Caleb Williams 4 years, 5 years until he really hits that stride. Again, same thing with an NBA quarterback. An NBA point guard, where it might take an NBA player 2-3 years to be a really good point guard. You can take a look at guys like Darius Garland, De'Aaron Fox, Jamal Murray. I mean, these guys averaged 9 points in their rookie season, and then now look at them. They're all-star level caliber players, and I think for an NFL quarterback, you're either great or it's going to take a while for that to develop. I'm interested to see when push comes to shove and he's really not that good in the beginning. Are they going to believe in him? Is he going to believe in himself? Is everyone going to be able to get behind this kid, or is he already going to be a bust to a franchise that is really looking like to try to build a dynasty? We're gonna have to wait and see. But I think right now that's a very solid pick for number 1. Let's see if I can find one. The Cleveland Browns get a grade of a C+ for their draft. Yikes. So C+. Trying to look for a really low one. Oh yeah, this is what I also saw when I was doing my NFL draft night recap video, is that the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending NFL Super Bowl champions, got a draft night grade of an A, which is the highest grade I think any team got, which is insane. C plus. The Cleveland Browns got the lowest grades of C pluses. Interesting. I'm surprised no one got like an F or anything like that. I know these articles and like these things really love to, have some clickbait type of things, but again, if you're a big time watcher of the NFL draft, are the Atlanta Falcons and the Cleveland Browns the worst draft teams this year? That's what the guys who get paid the big bucks have to say about that. Interesting, very interesting. Is there anything else I need to say about the NFL? I mean, I'm kind of excited about the NFL season. Of course, it's not even close to starting. I think like September. I think like September is like when the season is about to start, and then like the season kind of kicks off really in like October, and then kind of kicks off then. So we have a lot of time till then. But if I had to say my favorites to win it all, I was talking recently in one of my ASMR Monday and Thursday night live streams that I do think, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs winning 3 Super Bowls in a row narrative and storyline actually sounds kind of fun, and I think I would be extremely down to see and to be able to say you witnessed a 3-peated NFL Super Bowl team. Now I know a lot of people really hate the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's fine, but I don't know. I think I'm more on the side of history than, oh, this team is always in the Super Bowl, they're really annoying, blah, blah, blah. I think it'd just be cool to say that you got to witness it, so, I mean, if Kansas City wins it all again, I wouldn't be mad about it, but I do think Kansas City, and the Eagles still look really good, of course the 49ers are really good. I'm excited about who else can really show up in this NFL season, like surprise teams and things like that. I think the Houston Texans are going to be really good again. Well, I think they're going to continue to be good, as well with C.J. Stroud being amazing. I've had a lot of people ask me questions about the Green Bay Packers and how they're going to do. I have no idea, but Jordan Love is legit. He's a very fun player to watch, so I'm pretty excited about the NFL season. Anything else I need to talk about? I think that's good for NFL talk. Let's see. Let's go on to maybe some Champions League football, and maybe Premier League. We can talk some Premier League as well. With the Champions League going on, I'm not gonna lie, kind of totally forgot about the Champions League. I do know there was a big sort of like time gap between the games and things like that. They're like, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes they're like 2 weeks away from each other, and it's really hard to remember, oh wait, a week from now I need to, catch up on these games, blah, blah, blah. And again, some people on my, Monday and Thursday night ASMR live stream were asking me questions about the Champions League, and I didn't know what to say because I didn't even know who was in the Champions League sort of tournament yet. Now, the last time we saw some teams being played was their quarterfinal leg 1 and leg 2, was started all the way back April 9th, which is insane, the start of the month, so, jeez Louise, that's such a long time ago. You had teams like Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Man City, PSG, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Dortmund. And they were battling it out, and it actually took until all the way till April 17th to really lower down these teams. And the teams that are currently in the Champions League right now are Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Dortmund, and PSG, which, if you guys are watching this up to date, these games actually already happened. Now, for me, I haven't watched them, which sucks. I don't really have a huge say in them, but I guess I can give like a little bit of prediction and see like what the experts have to say about who their favorites are. But wow, Man City and Real Madrid, by the way, was the reason. Oh, sorry about that really loud car. Oh geez, sorry about that. The reason why Man City, the team that won it last year, and my favorites to win it all this year, are not in the Champions League anymore because they actually beat Man City in a 3-4 penalty shootout, which is awesome. I watched it. That was insane. That was very fun to watch. The highlights of that game were really cool. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of the penalty shootout sort of thing. things. I wish it was a little bit more of a high-scoring game in regular time, but hey, you get what you get, and you take it. So, interesting. Man, oh man. Well, the first matchup is Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. Now, currently, right now, the win probability of this game right now actually favors Bayern Munich, which is interesting. 32% of it going to Real Madrid in a 26% draw, which I guess these games can go to draws, can they? Let's see. Oh, yep, they can. Real Madrid and Man City back on April 9th actually drew their first leg day, so I'm assuming the second leg you can't draw. Is what I'm getting at here. I think. But yeah, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. That's gonna be a fun one. And then you have Dortmund taking on PSG. With Dortmund, I think I'm saying that right. Am I not? I don't know. Have a win probability of 35%, with PSG having a 39%, barely having the edge, with a 26% draw there. So, wow. The last time these teams have faced off against each other was all the way back December 13th in 2023. They tied, and PSG won the last two previous matchups back from 2023 in September, and then all the way back in 2020. So these teams don't really play each other all that often. But when they did, PSG has the edge on them. People have asked me who my favorites are to win it all this year, and honestly, PSG have been looking really good, and of course you guys know Kylian Mbappe is definitely one of my favorite players to watch right now when it comes to football. I think him, Holland, of course, Holland, I think is how to pronounce the name too, from Man City, is also very fun to watch. Those guys are insane, but Kylian might be my favorite player to watch, and he's been doing okay. I think he scored in their game against Argentina back on April 16th, which is really cool to see. But yeah, PSG looks really good. And then of course with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, let's take a look. The last time these two teams played against each other, Bayern Munich won 3-1. That matchup was all the way back in 2019. That was the last time these two teams played against each other, which is just wow. That's pretty wild. But Real Madrid has them 3-1 in one draw in that season series. So, man, oh man. Interesting. Now you guys have already seen the matchup and have already seen what's going on. The second set of games are going to be all the way May 7th. So again, I need to remind myself May 7th. That's the next set of games, and I know I'm going to forget. And then if you guys don't know, the Champions League final is June 1st, which is a very easy date to remember. But isn't that insane? The games to see the Champions League, who's going to be in the Champions League final, are May 7th and May 8th, and then they don't play again for a whole month. Is wild. Now, of course, these teams have their own like leagues and things like that, so it's not like they're not, playing football for that long. But oh man, you have to wait a month to see who's gonna win this Champions League final. That's really annoying. It should be like another week away, but it is what it is. But I do really like PSG. Man, Real Madrid or Bayern Munich is gonna be a really good matchup too. I think that's definitely gonna be a toss-up matchup for sure. I think both of these matchups are. I just want to see a good game. Yeah, Champions League is a good time. It just takes forever for these teams to get going and finally see these games actually played. Now let's see. Maybe we can go on to the Champions League now. Take a look. The Premier League is what I meant to say. Did I say Champions League? I meant the Premier League. The Premier League table is what they call it. It's not really standing, it's a table. Table. Taking a look at the Premier League table, we have the number one team in the entire Premier League, and that's Arsenal. Wow, Arsenal. Excuse me, that's definitely not bad at all. Arsenal right now have, let's see how many points. They have 80 points right now on 25 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses. That 80 points is only one better than the second place team in Man City right behind them with 24 wins, 7 draws, and only 3 4-1, with Man City being 5-0 in their last 5 matches. So you can see why Man City is really catching up there. 3 seeded we have Liverpool, 4 we have Aston Villa, 5 we have Tottenham, 6 Man City. Then we have some other players, other teams, like number 9 we have Chelsea. Let's see, 14th we have Crystal Palace, and then we have your regulation teams like Burnley and Luton Town. And dead last we have Sheffield United with 3 wins and 25 losses on the entire season. Yeah, that's tough. That's wow. That's pretty tough. Anyways, taking a look at some of the updated Premier League matches we have going on. By the way, the Premier League, I think their last day of play is May 19th. May 19th. They still have a couple weeks. That is the 38th. They call it the 38th match day. The 38th match day. Right now, currently we're on, let's see, match day number 36. No, yeah, match day 36, I think. Is it 36? Yeah, I think match day 36. Anyways, we have here the most up-to-date game is actually, I think, a makeup game between Chelsea and Tottenham going on Thursday, May 2nd. And then we have May 3rd and May 4th games going on. Arsenal is playing against Bournemouth. I'm sure Arsenal should be able to take care of them. Man City versus the Wolves. I think Man City will take care of them. Chelsea versus West Ham. That should be a pretty good matchup. Liverpool and Tottenham. That might be the game to watch, though. Liverpool right now, though, has a 65% chance to win that game. Maybe that game is not going to be that good, but wow. Interesting. Yeah, very cool. Now, again, a lot of people say, Jake, are you watching? Who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite club? Blah, blah, blah. You guys need to keep in mind that these games start at like 8 o'clock in the morning for me. Now, I'm not like a lazy bones. Like, yes, could I get up and watch these games? Yes, of course. And it is a Sunday, so like I'm not really doing anything those days, but your boy likes to sleep in. I don't get a lot of sleep already. I mean, I'm filming this video right now at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't get a lot of sleep, so I do like to sleep in on days I can't sleep in. No, I will not be watching these games live, but again, I do watch the highlights and watch the recaps and stuff like that, so hopefully that's a way to sort of make up for it. But yeah, I'm excited to see who kind of wins out in the Premier League, and yeah, the Champions League is also going to look really cool to see what happens with them. So if you want me to do maybe an entire video talking about the Premier League, the Champions League final when it comes around, definitely let me know down in the comments if you guys would be interested in that. I will be gladly someone who would love to do that, because even though, I don't really know a lot about football, I really try my best, and it's just really exciting to watch. It's something that I'm really happy that you guys actually showed me to get more involved with it. And again, I've sort of already stated this, and I owe it to you guys watching and participating in the World Cup and sort of encouraging me to as well. That's kind of where my love for football kind of first started, was the World Cup when it came out. Man, 2 years ago I think it's been since the World Cup, and I've been hooked ever since. So thank you guys for that. It's been a lot of fun. Ow, man, my back is so uncomfy from like leaning into the microphone today. Let's see. What else can we talk about? There is the NHL playoffs going on right now. We do have the MLB season that kicked off as well. Let's talk maybe about the NHL playoffs, just because it is the playoffs, that is. NHL playoff bracket. I'm sure on NFL.com, NHL.com, they have a bracket, which they do. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So I'm just going to sort of read it from left down and then right down. So the first matchup we have here are the Dallas Stars taking on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. That series right now is tied 2 games apiece. Of course, the Golden Knights are one of my teams I really like to root for. I did do an ASMR in public video going Jets, I think, and then the Avalanche going up in the next series. The Avalanche actually are winning that 3-1. Shout out to Denver. I don't know if it's Denver, but I know it's Colorado. They are the Colorado Avalanche, and they're looking really good, going up 3-1 on that side of the western bracket. Then we have the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Predators of Nashville. The Nashville Predators, that's right. And right now Vancouver is winning that series 3-1 and pretty much dominating that side there. Then we have Edmonton taking on the LA Kings, and yeah, it's 3-1. The Kings are also another team I kind of support when it comes to NHL. My dad's favorite hockey team is the LA Kings. He's been, man, a huge hockey fan ever since like the 80s, since even the Wayne Gretzky era of the LA Kings, of course. He has I think I showed you guys before, like oh my god, like one of my first ever one of my first ever sports videos was an NBA, no, god, I keep saying NBA, the NHL trading card video, and they're all my dad's NHL cards, and I'm showing you guys and showing them off, and they're like all like older NHL players. It's really cool. But yeah, my dad's a big hockey fan, and he likes the Kings. They're not doing well right now. Taking a look at the east side of the bracket, the Florida Panthers already beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, moving on to the next round, 4-1. We have the Boston Bruins, yeah, sorry, I almost said the Brewers, but the Bruins taking on the Maple Leafs of Toronto. Boston lead that series 3-1. We have the New York Rangers sweeping the Washington Capitals 4-0. Let's go New York. And then we have the Islanders and the Hurricanes. I think, I have no idea where they're from. I think Carolina or something like that. The Hurricane winning that series against the New York Islanders 3-1. You know, I always forget that New York has two hockey teams. Do they play in the same arena? Do they both play last with a 6-24 record. Whoa. The Cubs are first for the National League Central Division, and the Cardinals are last with 13-15. A very competitive division there in the Central Division. Then for the National League West, we have the Dodgers with a record of 19-12, having the number one record there, with the Rockies are dead last there. So the number one team right now currently, well, there's just whatever. The number one seeded team currently on the MLB bracket, as you can see, or standings, whatever you want to call it, are the Guardians, number one. 2 are the Orioles, and 3 are the Mariners. Wow, I did not expect that at all. Maybe I should go to a Mariner game this year. If you don't know, of course, Portland, where I'm at right now, does not have a professional baseball team. Maybe one of these days, but I can, and I do drive up to Seattle whenever I do want to go see baseball live. Maybe I should see a game sometime soon. And the worst team in the American League we have is the Chicago White Sox with a record of 6-23. The number one seeded team in the National League, though, are the Atlanta Braves. So we have the Braves number one, and then for the American League, we have the Guardians number one with the dead last team of the Marlins with a record of 6-24. They currently, right now, actually have the worst record in the entire MLB. The Marlins. I think it's the Tampa Bay Marlins. Is it Tampa Bay? No, it's the Florida Marlins, and it's the Tampa Bay Rays, I think, right? The Rays? Are they a baseball team? Yeah, they are. Tampa Bay Rays. They're over in the American League. My bad. I almost messed up there. Anything else I need to look after? I know you guys wanted me to talk like F1, which I think there is an F1 race coming up sometime in May for the Miami Grand Prix, which is really sick. I think it's really cool whenever we have these Grand Prix races in America. Of course, we had a big one over there in Las Vegas not that long ago, but thank God that's done and over with. I know that was very hectic when I went over there to Vegas and visited, and it looked like a wreck show. But they have one going on in Miami, which the first sort of practice races are over there May 3rd, and then May 4th we have the qualifier, and then May 5th we have the official Grand Prix on Sunday, May 5th, which is really cool. So right now for the standings, I think it's pretty obvious that Red Bull is still very much heavily in the league. I did a video talking about this a handful of weeks ago. Again, I do these videos every couple weeks, and they're still in first place with 195 points, which is just insane. And Max Verstappen, I think that's how you pronounce it right, still in the league there with 110 points all by himself, is insane. Lewis Hamilton is in 9th place, not looking too good there. But yeah, it's Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes all right there. Ferrari is catching up though, so maybe they have a good couple races, maybe they can catch up. I'm not too sure really how many more races these sort of things go on for, but it's pretty sick, and yeah, F1 looking pretty good. Is that it? That's all I can really think about. Maybe I can touch up on UFC in like a future video. I know UFC was always really fun to talk about. I do know that Conor McGregor just recently got a fight announced, which is really cool. But the next card is UFC 301, which happens Saturday, May 4th. Main event of UFC 301 is Pantoja versus Eric. I have no idea how to pronounce that guy's last name, but it's the flyweight championship